Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Grab a cold one, crank up the volume, and join the show. Welcome to NBNR Live. And here we go.
It's no block, no rock.
Go big red indeed. No block, no rock. Episode 223 coming at you from the NBNR studio in Omaha, Nebraska. Fellas, we got to make the rounds and talk about Draft Top. Got the red one. Red one for a red guy. That's me. Mike, you love America, don't you?
I do. Well, according to my Draft Top.
You bet. Yeah, according to the Draft Top.
Yes.
But that's it, though.
Draft Top is the new sponsor of No Block, No Rock. We do have an affiliate link that we will send out sometime during this episode or right after the episode. But Draft Top is the way you should be drinking your beers with the tops off. What man doesn't like the tops off?
It's the way.
It's the way. Let me demonstrate
life.
really quick how easy it is to take the top off your beer. You just you get your tab in there, you squeeze down,
Twist.
give a little spin,
Twist.
make a little mess because I
Fine.
just did that.
You don't
That's
have your
fine.
computer under you. It's fine.
I don't have my computer this time, so it's fine. And boom, bam, we've got a beer with no top. It's awesome.
No
and
top.
boom, bam.
Boom,
That's what he said.
Ease of access to your beers.
Yeah,
That's
It
what
is.
you want.
I got mine off last week, and it was it's super easy. But I did.
you always get off easy.
Okay.
No, that's not a drop.
Normally, I prefer backdoor.
I didn't even say it.
I didn't even say it.
Let's see. I know
Okay,
it's
you're
loose.
twisting.
I know it's loose.
Ugh.
Oh, there we go.
Look at
I
that.
also made a little bit of mess, but yeah, it just sticks right in the or in the top there. I'm getting better at it, minus that part.
Hey, no, listen. You just showed that these are durable. These are fucking tough, man.
They are durable.
Takes a beating.
And let me tell you, like, I know that people are like, oh yeah, like we love what you do, NBNR. Like, yeah, no, like actually support the pod by
Yeah.
buying one of these. Like, we actually make money if you buy one and you get something out of it. So, unlike super chats, all that stuff, which we do appreciate, thankfully, and thank you, BA, always. But like, the super chats and stuff are awesome. But this literally, if you want to support the pod, you literally go buy one of these with our affiliate link, and we get money from it. So it helps us do this continuously every week and have a studio and all these nice things. So support the pod that way. KB, welcome back.
Hey,
There
thanks,
he
fellas.
is. Holy
Hey.
crap.
Glad to be back. I'm gonna try to open this thing.
Come
So,
on.
yeah, keep your hand clamped down on it.
Come on, stranger.
And it'll spin. You'll feel it loosen up. It's
I'm making it.
Make it loose, baby. Let's go.
we are not the
I-
best
I think
advocates for the
you're-
use of the product. The product is great.
If you would have
I
been
think
here
you're
last year.
squeezing too hard. While Kyle's doing this,
yeah, keep a soft
Anywho, you
hand.
guys keep going.
while Kyle's opening his beer over there, just a quick shout out to Mr. Kyle Byers himself. We played hooky and went golfing last week, and Mr. Kyle Byers got his first hole in one.
Look at that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Give yourself
Everybody,
a round of applause.
yeah, I appreciate it here.
That
Thank you.
was it was pretty cool.
All right, cut it.
So people are asking, you got the first hole in one last week.
Yep.
Is the tour card next?
I would need a caddy. Does anybody want to?
Done.
All right.
Wait,
Well,
how many caddies are you
Hey,
legally
who
allowed to
caddied for
have?
you last time when you got it? You obviously need me.
Yeah, it has to be Mike. No.
yeah. Well, the thing was that my buddy Andy, who also works for Herd at Sports and the Omaha Supernovas, he got up there and hit his it was like an 8-iron or something, like 15 yards over the green. So I said, I better club down a bit. And so really, he's the one that gave me the yardages, and that's how I got my hole in one.
Andy can't take that away from you. You did everything yourself. We watched the ball just draw right into the hole.
Like a magnet.
You want to
It
talk
was
about
pretty cool.
humble? Kyle gets his first hole in one. He's out
He
here
did it
dishing out
like
credit.
while we're on the course. He's like being
Oh,
extra humble about it.
cool.
I'm like, no, fuck that.
Kyle's like
Be a
that.
dude. Be a
Kyle-
dude.
Kyle's like that happened.
So
And we all know the rules, like when you get a hole in one, right?
yeah, you go to the bar,
Right. Yeah.
Kyle
and
pays.
Kyle pays.
So I have to. That's actually was my next question. Is Mike, what did you order?
well, his friend Andy and Andrew didn't want to go out. Couldn't possibly do that on a Thursday or Wednesday or whatever it was. So we just had a beer at the clubhouse, and that's how we celebrated his hole in one.
Hey,
what a boring way to celebrate his life achievement right there.
Just a brewski with the bud.
Yeah.
A buddy brewski. It's fine. You don't need to, Mike, you're a dad. You should know this. You don't need to go out to fucking Two Fine Irishmen and start doing a jig. And
hey, that place says it's Club 180 now.
No,
Oh, is that the strip club?
That is the strip club.
Okay, yeah.
well, we don't need to go to the strip club, Mike. He's like, hole in one, woo, lap dance
This
time.
was a life accomplishment for Kyle. I know he is expecting the birth of his first child.
That'll be the second best day of my life.
Yeah, that will be the second best day of your life. So, anyways,
I don't think you're
in other
supposed to say
news,
that. Okay,
this is a football podcast, guys.
you got your top off. He got his top off.
Yeah, I did. I made one hell of a mess over here.
Hey.
These guys are a little more experienced than I am, but yeah, it worked.
Good job, buddy.
Thanks.
Okay, Nebraska Brewing Company, their tap room, 108th and Harrison in La Vista, Nebraska, world class.
In every glass.
Okay, now we had a pretty solid weekend for baseball, but Mike, he's, how Mike is. God, just fucking bitching and complaining. We gotta save it for last.
Yeah,
all
right,
right,
relax. We're not railing the show for 30 minutes talking about baseball. That's not happening today. We did that last week.
You see how he does this?
What
derail.
We cover Husker sports, big dog.
I agree.
What?
I'm just saying.
What is Nebraska baseball?
I'm just saying the theme of the show based on current events. Hey, it's March and we're talking football.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Listen,
we've got Lance Cleaver in the chat. He says, here in March to listen to some worthless spring football talk.
Hey, we're going to give it to you.
Tuned into Twitter today.
Hell yeah.
Just like X gave it to you, we're going to give it to you. All right. So
X gonna give it to you. We going to give it to you.
Arr, arr. What my dog say? Okay. Well, Mike, since you're so fucking gung-ho about, because, there's a big thing on the social medias. I don't know if you caught it out there, people. A debate about talking about spring ball while, basketball's still going on. Nebraska ball plays tonight still.
Yeah, and then we'll be watching. That's the best part about this fan base is it doesn't really matter what month it is. Our fans show up regardless. So you could say, oh, you can't talk about football in March. But guess what? Our fans also had some of the best attendance in basketball. And they show up to baseball games even when they have a losing record. Like, our fans show out. So you can't diminish, oh, you can't talk about football in March. Why?
No, I hear you. Especially here, man, of all places. All places. We're starving. That's all we do is starve for football. Okay?
It's also the best time to talk about spring football because it's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The news is currently taking place.
Current. Like, there's press conferences and they're actually practicing.
Yeah.
Like, I get in May if you were like, oh, yeah, like we're talking football when it doesn't matter and half these guys will be off the team. But like right now, they're currently practicing. There was press conferences last week.
Mm-hmm.
You and I talked about it last week. You said, I'm not really excited about spring ball. And I was on the other side of the table saying, no, actually, I think this is a big deal.
Yeah, you're kind of obnoxious about it. You're like, I'm really excited.
And I still am. This is year 3, Matt Rule.
You almost convinced me.
I did. I think I got you over.
I'm a little more excited than I was last week. I will admit.
I'm just saying, year 3, Matt Rule. We've got new coaches on staff. We've got new players on staff. Like, people can say, oh, whatever's said in March doesn't really matter. If Matt Rule stepped to the press conference today and said, hey, by the way, Dylan tweaked his knee. Yeah, that'd be a big deal.
You would
just saying, I would certainly care about that. So,
well, okay.
Saying, don't diminish what happens in the spring. That's important.
Well, okay. So every spring, it's the time for
Kool-Aid.
It's a time for hope. It's a time for new storylines. It's a time to pin your hopes on new players or returning ones that played well the previous year, right? And so there's kind of a debate on, well, we are glazing a lot of players that might not be significant contributors
or on the team.
Or even on the team.
There's
in
a 105 now.
Right. And so there's a little debate about balancing excessive positivity and having hope about a program that for the past decade plus has been pretty pathetic on the field. So you balance that being really, really positive with being realistic and being critical and being like you read headlines and you have to question things, right? And so there's a balance when it's March and April.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Mike, I will throw it over to you. What are you taking away from this past week? Like, what's the thing what's got your attention at this point right now?
I don't know. I like listening to some of the new coaches on staff. I think that's a big deal. I did like hearing from Daniel Holgerson, getting a full off season with him, being able to plan up what his offense wants to look like. I think there's a lot of good things that can come out of what you're going to hear this week, next week, until the end of spring. I do like that Dylan's body is changing a little bit. We expected that. But, like, I don't know. Like, at the end of the day, like, we started this podcast as one reason. We love Nebraska football. We do. And we cover other sports. We enjoy all Nebraska athletics. But, like, football is just, I mean, that's the meat and potatoes.
Well, one of the main reasons why we started this in the first place, going back to what I just said a minute ago, is we didn't feel like there were enough outlets out there.
And we do a good job at
that are critical.
Yes, and we are critical.
Especially at that time when we first founded NBNR, things were not very good.
They were bad.
And we felt like there weren't enough people saying that. And so I am greatly sympathetic to people that say, quit pumping sunshine, because that's how we started this thing in the first place.
But I'm not asking for sunshine with the spring talk. Like, I'm just asking, like, I just crave football. Like, I crave, like, I'm not one that's going to be like optimistic and hopeful. Oh, we're going to win 9 games or 10 games because of this, what happened in April. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
I just enjoy hearing about the team that I support.
And Mike, there is a serious market of people that think the exact same way that you do.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why you have what was described as grifters making a 25-year career out of giving people the football. Going and telling people what they witnessed at practice and what the coach said at the press conference and writing about it and creating digital content like we do. There is a serious market for that. So, of course, everyone is going to try to make $1 off of that and make a career out of it, which is ultimately what anybody's trying to do.
Right.
If you are enthusiastic about something, such as us, if you are into something like we are, we're going to try to use that and make a buck. And even when we weren't making money, we were doing this.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, the whole thing is kind of crazy. BA throws $5 in here. We appreciate you. He says, Daddy needs a touchdown. I understand. He said, I understand the point. I don't agree entirely. I enjoy football content year round, but the over positivity in March means nothing. LOL. There's not a person in this room that wouldn't agree with you that we understand.
Oh, yeah.
And I think most people do that. Hey, everything that's being said right now, positive or negative, is probably not going to translate to the first game.
No.
That's at least the realistic fans' point of view, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I see kind of everything.
There's, like, for this time of year, there's really only 2 ways to present the information. And I think we do a good job of, we're just relaying the news and we're going to give our opinions on it. Like, there's no spin. We're not going to tell you in, late March, tomorrow's April. We're not going to tell you like, oh yeah, we're competing for a Big Ten. No, we're trying to let you know what's happening, because this is, I know we ditched the format of saying like season 5 episode, whatever, because that was very hard to keep track of. But this is season 5 of us doing this.
Right.
We show up every week. We want to talk about this because it's shit that we enjoy.
Yes.
Like, if you don't enjoy that, that's totally fine. And there are valid opinions, whatever. But to say that spring ball coverage is irrelevant and a grift, I think is a little weird.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, like, the thing I want to get off my chest is, like, you have people that are covering Nebraska football, which has been largely mediocre. Yes?
Yeah.
Now, it's also not just our responsibility. We have this platform. We have usually about 500 people watching us every Monday,
500,000.
right?
500,000.
Now, like, we have a responsibility to read everything that we see and be objective, yes, and not
Absolutely.
and not like it's also the fans' responsibility to not read everything and get a boner over it or get pissed off. I'm at the point in my life right now where it's hard. Let me tell you why. Because I'm fucking old. I'm getting older. And I'm sick of the sunshine bullshit, right? But at the same time, this is the one life I'm going to get. And so why be miserable? And so I'm trying to reach the point where if I read something that is like positive and I'm skeptical, I'm going to say I'm skeptical, but at the same time, I'm not going to like be an asshole and be like, you're a grifter for saying it, Mitch Sherman or whoever. Like, I'm going to try to not be miserable because I'm getting older and I want good things. And I do this every Monday. And so, yeah, I have a little bit of a struggle within me too. Well, I get it.
Not to mention, like, you talk about some of these people that have been in this industry for 20 plus years, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know they can't say that they root for Nebraska or Nebraska fans or whatever, but believe it or not, anybody in the media that covers Nebraska, they want Nebraska to be good.
Yeah.
So, like, they're going to report things that they see. And if they see good things, they're telling you about it for a reason.
Yeah.
And they know things that you don't know. So, like, there's things they can't tell you, but they try to do a good job of telling you things without actually telling you things. So sometimes you can use the off season or use some different media outlets as an opportunity to kind of know what's going on inside the program without actually knowing.
I mean, imagine a career of reporting on negatives
But like,
all
who's
the
gonna
time.
listen?
Well, one, I mean, nobody wants to listen to that all the time. Nobody wants to read that all the time. But just think about the person writing it and reporting it. Think about how miserable that would be, right? Like, you walk into work every single day and you say, "Oh, Dylan Raiola is 240 pounds." Oh, like you just start going down this rabbit hole of everything that is negative. I mean, your job would just have to be draining. Like, it would just have to be miserable.
Oh
yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. The whole situation that occurred today was bizarre.
Wild.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
bizarre.
Hey, a friend of our show. So, like,
He was sitting in this seat.
Hey,
Several
it's no
friends
big
of our
deal.
show,
Yeah.
actually.
There's a lot of people that have been on our show involved in the Twitter beef, we'll call
This
it.
turmoil.
So yeah, I mean, I think we just played neutral on it, but
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I see Jacob Bigelow's point.
Yeah,
I do.
100%.
Oh my God.
100%.
Coming from the biggest skeptic, negative person, look, I'm probably more negative than Bigelow is. Okay, and maybe not.
Would you call
maybe
Matt
after
Rule?
this,
Would you call Matt Rule
go on.
a pyramid scheme artist?
The
Head of a pyramid scheme.
would I call him that? No, I would just say he's bad at in-game coaching. That's what I would say.
Right.
That's all. Like, okay, but like, just to like prove my point about just embracing, like, what's that called? Fuck.
Cult. It's a cult.
So campy humor, camp, embracing the weird, right? Connor, you found this,
Yeah.
in your brewery.
Yeah. Like 5 days ago.
Look, people,
Here to win championships.
if you can read this, either you're laughing or you're like disgusted. I don't know. I don't know how you're taking this, but I saw that and I go, I gotta have it.
What does it
because-
say for the people who might not be able to read it?
Well, it's good old Mike Riley, and he's quoted saying, "I'm here to win championships," and I see that and I go, I gotta have it because, for one, I mean,
it's
it was a disaster.
absolutely. And we
Even though we won 9 games,
Yeah, there was a year where we started 7-0 and we're a top 10 team.
and-
Let's not forget that.
Then that
our
happened.
last ranked win, that guy was the HC. But yeah, I'm just like, oh my God, it's got to go in the studio because it's kitschy, it's cute. I'm gonna live once. Okay, if you can't find the humor in this right here, I don't know what to do for you. I think it's funny. I think it's hilarious.
It is totally fine to have hope for the current program, no matter who's at the helm. Like, it's always fine to have help. Take that little shot of Kool-Aid. There's always a chaser. It's MBNR.
That's us.
Fucking A.
But then, yeah, when you look back on things, like, I'm not telling you that everything that we've done in the last decade is sunshine and roses. It's not. It's been not good, actually.
Not so good.
Not good. But you can enjoy what's happening right now, regardless of whether it's the spring, regardless of whether it's August or September or whatever it is. Like, you can enjoy it. Like, it just,
I enjoy it.
yeah.
I do. I'm a sick, but we're all sickos. Everybody in this room here, and
Those
Husker
watching
fans, like, you guys are sickos.
Yeah.
We're people that do this 52 weeks out of the year. We come to this studio or the brewery or wherever we're at, and we talk about what is Nebraska athletics and Nebraska football.
And it's usually
not good. But this is our platform to just let it all out.
yeah.
And people, I think, agree with us a lot of the time.
It's a therapy session.
Or they don't and they call us dumb, but then we're usually right anyway. So
Does any, like, regarding this kind of topic, I guess, anyone else want to just, like, get it off their chest, whatever? Because I was gonna go, like, move on to actual substance with football, but
go substance.
Well,
Unless you have anything. Do
Kyle?
you have anything else?
I'll just say this.
Ooh, love it.
yeah, okay, you know it's gonna be some good
the
shit.
The face.
It's
That shit-eating grin.
I've always tried to represent myself with the knowledge that I represent something bigger than myself,
Mhm.
whether that be my work, whether that be my family, whatever. I'll just say this. What is said on Twitter carries over.
It can.
It can.
Yes.
So if there's personal vendettas, if there's personal slights, if there's whatever,
Be careful.
be careful. Because I'm just saying that stuff does transfer over. It's not like I say something to Mike on Twitter that hurts his feelings,
You say things to me all the time.
and then I see him on the street and he's like, "Hey, man," it doesn't work that way. So I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it might not seem big in the Twitter sphere, but there's other people on the other side of that reading what is said and whatever. So
Hey,
Well, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's not just the person you're talking to that's developing opinions about who you are and how you operate. It's everyone. Twitter is a public sphere.
hey, I'm sure that the people involved, they probably lost some followers. They probably gained a few, right? They probably gained a few followers that were like, you know what? I
agree
like
with
that. I like that he's
Yeah.
being a dick right now, or you
Ooh.
know, whatever.
I've got a conspiracy Connor moment.
Oh boy.
This whole controversy was orchestrated
Oh.
to bring more attention to everyone involved.
More
It's all
attention. This was all a ploy to bring more attention to spring football.
The deep
Yes.
The thing that was being demonized.
So
Anyway,
Matt Rule and the
Matt
deep state.
Rule did it. Matt Rule.
he's doing TikToks with Harper Murray and doing this whole smoky back room
He's
thing.
behind it.
Yes.
He's behind it. He told me. And I get people are telling me. Oh boy. Let's invite
The deep state doesn't want you to hear about the spring game.
Flag football. It sucks, but we got to do it instead of a real game.
Okay, stop.
All
Matt
right.
Rule invited me, and I said no.
Okay, hold on. Stop. It's a terrible impression anyway, even though everybody knows exactly who I'm doing when I do it. Okay, so going back to the Holgerson thing, he did talk. He talked about running the football. Listen, and this is the
Run the
point.
goddamn ball.
This is the point where I do this. You know, I'm like, okay, whatever. Now, Matt Rule is really good at the off the field stuff, the roster management, even defense. Right, defense is his thing.
Yes.
He's delegating the offense to Holgerson. Here are the fucking keys, right? Have you ever seen oh shoot, I forgot the name of it. Oh, okay. Never
Probably
mind.
not.
I can't use that reference right now because I forgot the name of the movie.
Was it Terry Crews?
Fuck.
Damn it.
R.I.P. Terry Crews.
I'm gonna think of it. Okay, sorry. Dana, take the keys to the offense. I don't want them. You run everything, right? It will be interesting to see how much Dana and Rule have a symbiotic relationship with this thing.
Yin and yang.
Is Rule doing what we think? 100% Holgerson offense. Rule is staying out of the meetings. It's all Dana. Do we believe that?
No,
Okay.
I don't, because we heard about the fullback and tight ends and running the football
Now,
right
that was
when they
Sat.
first got
That
here.
was Sat.
No, that was both. It was Matt Rule and Marcus Satterfield.
Okay.
They stood up there at all their stops and they said, all right, we're running the football. We're using the tight ends. Bring back the fullback.
49ers, Kyle Juszczyk, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And that's not what we saw.
Okay, now I see your point. Now, I'm willing to believe maybe they learned from that. And Matt Rule learned from that. And he's changing. Maybe that's true.
So
Now, but like my point is, since Matt Rule is so defensive minded, he like wants to protect his defense.
Yes.
Right?
That's the yin yang thing where it's like, you can't run that leech type. And he said,
Right. Yeah,
he
yeah,
said,
yeah.
I burned the air raid. That's not there anymore.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting to is like,
the pass happy stuff is going to be tough.
well, and so I think just for the discussion is, for me, I don't think Holgerson is air raid, throwing
No.
the ball 70. And a key word that's come up too is like tempo. Like last week, one of my coworkers comes up to me and he goes, "Oh, did you hear that they're going to do faster tempo? I'm
Remember the
like, okay,
last guy?
first of all, shut the fuck up.
Remember the last guy?
I'm like, shut up, bro. How many times have we heard tempo over the past
Fast.
8 years, right? But then I get to thinking about Rule, and does Rule even want to do a fast tempo?
No.
You wouldn't think so, right? Connor, go.
So I have two parts to this. One, I don't believe Rule's hand is like entirely out of the cookie jar as far as the offense goes. I'm not saying he's going to be meddling super hard, but I think he is giving Holgerson a lot more control. So I would call it probably like an 80-20 Holgerson. But then like when you talk about tempo, anybody that just says like, we are going to be a high tempo team all year long, I think is a bad approach. Tempo, like you have to approach each game with a different tempo based on who you're playing.
Yep.
So like just saying we're going to do one thing and this is how we're going to do it all season.
Yeah.
It gives a lot of defenses an easy way to understand what you're coming out with. And I know it's a lot harder to tailor your tempo to each opponent, but that is a very good way to win games. I mean, we've seen a lot of fantastic teams do that. We saw Michigan in 2024 do that. Obviously we're very run heavy, but if you watch their possession times, game over game, wildly different. Yeah. There were some drives they'd come out and they would just move it as fast as they could, and some where they wanted to burn as much clock as they can. Trying to just run high tempo all the time, I think, is just a mistake.
Well, I think Dana's been a head coach for a long time. I think he understands, just given his track record, he understands the importance of defense. I think he understands the importance of time of possession, and he's seen a little bit of the league. I think the good part about Dana is he's not coming in. This is not game one. Is not his first game at Nebraska. So like him getting in, even though it was kind of not normal to have him come in late and just take over immediately, like that, I think that benefits Nebraska. And I think he got to learn a little bit about the Big Ten. He got to learn a little bit about the players he has on this team.
He helped us beat Wisconsin for the first time in 10 fucking years. Thank you, Dana. You already built a statue. Build a statue for Dana just for that fucking game. Go on.
I just think that Dana he's ahead of the game because he was already here. And the fact that he's been a head coach, I think he will understand the importance of defense and tempo and not putting your defense in bad positions because you're running so fast. Like the last guy, former head coach Scott.
I'm on a different page.
He's on a different page. Beep. That guy did not care. Did not care. Fast. They're going to adjust us. That did not work. And I think given Matt Rule's been in, this will be year 3 of Matt Rule being in this program, in this league. I think you understand the importance of time of possession and not having your defense out there that long.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you're saying. And this is kind of back to like the positive pumping.
Hey, do it, baby.
I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Holgerson stood up there and said, if you guys are running 2 high safeties, we're going to run the ball. If you're trying to load the box, we're going to pass the ball all over you. And these are just like spring ball, coach speak words, right? Because we heard this exact same thing, and these were the exact words out of our head coach.
We're going to absolutely murder you.
And that was right after he talked about, if you got 2 high safeties, we're going to run the ball down your throat. At the end of the day, it ends up being what happens on game day. But to your point, I do feel like Dana Holgerson is going to have an understanding as far as how that impacts his defense, special teams, all these different aspects to a football program, which is like, hey, right now, maybe it's not the best time to be running tempo, right?
But I think this goes, and I'm going to ask this to all you guys, but like, do you think that Matt Rule respects Dana Holgerson more than he did Marcus Satterfield?
I think you have to.
Right?
Yeah.
Is anyone going to answer anything but
okay?
yes, he respects Holgerson
I'll just say
more?
he fucking better.
Yeah.
Marcus Satterfield is one of Matt Rule's best friends. I just
Yes.
say, do you think he respects Dana more?
The dude
Yes.
better be able to separate besties from ball knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm calling a game.
Look, Mike,
I
you
hope
and I
so.
go out on the golf course.
Yeah.
I've been friends with you a long time. Tiger Woods starts giving me advice, and I'm like, I'm going to listen to him. I know we've been friends for a long time, but like,
Mike got you a hole in one.
I think
nobody
Tiger's
knows your
been here.
swing like your caddy does.
That's
I'm
right.
just saying, no,
That's right.
Tiger never got you no hole in one like I did.
Right.
Well, look, the other thing about the tempo thing too is
Uh-oh.
it's going to be really hard to run tempo when your quarterback's 240.
He's not 240.
239. Sorry.
Dude.
He's
Kyle missed 240 gate last
He
week.
was never 240.
he's looking slimmer, honestly. Like already.
He looks fine.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not that concerned.
he looks fine.
He looks good.
Is this
big boned.
Is this fabricated outrage? People worried about Raiola's weight right
This
now.
is an inside thing with like our group message with our friends that just constantly bash the weight of our quarterback. And I'm always like,
It's
you
kind
guys
of
are
creepy.
dumb.
You know, it's kind of creepy to be honest. Hopefully
Yeah.
they're watching. It's
They're
kind of
not.
creepy, guys.
They're not.
This is a real question. What did Tommy Armstrong weigh? Like that was a big boy. Like he probably wasn't 240.
Yeah,
Not a
but
big
like
boy at all. I bet Tommy Armstrong was like
220.
200.
I bet Tommy was 220.
No,
I want to say 205. I
think
feel
he's
like
like
205
200.
rings in my head for some reason.
We've got the Google sphere right here.
But hey, but let's be honest here. I guess we're going down this rabbit hole of body types. I mean, that dude, Tommy Armstrong. Listen, like he didn't have a lot of like that baby weight. Like you can admit that Dr. had that.
I'm not calling Tommy fat by
he
any
was
means.
listed at 6'1", 220. I do
Really?
not
Bang!
that
I was
for a
right
second.
on.
All
You
right.
nailed it on
All
the head.
right.
Which
Hey, that's
there's
20.
No way.
That's a whole 20 less pounds.
Shut up.
I don't see it. I didn't see it. And Tommy also
But
wasn't
that
6'1".
was all
He was
muscle.
not 6'1" either. So
Dude was all muscle though. That was all.
No,
muscle.
he's
I'm not
athletic
calling-
as shit.
I'm not
Yeah.
calling Tommy fat by any means.
I want to.
Ron Kellogg the third. That's 240 for you, buddy.
Yeah, that's a fair one.
RK3.
When he launched that ball against Northwestern, he had a lot of inertia going forward. And look, watch that Tommy Armstrong run against Oregon and tell me that dude wasn't in shape.
No, he was in great shape.
You know,
I wasn't talking about him being in shape or out of shape. I was simply saying I'll bet he was all of 220. And
Hey,
the website,
according to the website,
the
you are
website
correct.
corroborates me directly.
Now,
speaking of 240, this dude's just munching pizza.
this dude snuck in during the episode and grabbed himself a slice of pizza.
I saw him standing messing with the cameras. I was like, "What?" I thought he was going to change a battery, but we've got these industrial packs on these things.
This
today.
is awesome. We could.
Yeah.
How long can we go on these now?
6
3
hours.
Oh, I bet we'd be able to go for a couple hours.
That's a lot of pizza.
So I was like, I don't know what he's going to
Hey,
switch.
speaking of the pizza, just a quick little shout out to our friends at Herd at Sports Bar and Grill. If you haven't had their food, it's fantastic. They've got 2 locations in La Vista and Gretna, and they provide the food for NBNR every week. So
every week.
Yeah.
Shout out to our friends at Herd at Sports Bar and Grill.
I want to give
Shout out.
I want to give another special shout out to Chris Gorman of Herd at Sports.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Chris
Aw.
Gorman.
Hey, look at that.
I actually texted him earlier today. I said,
did
happy
too.
birthday. King."
27.
I said the same
Yeah.
words.
Did you really?
Yeah, I said
Yeah.
happy birthday, King.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out Gorman. We love you.
Yeah. Yeah, he was pizza guy, and then, I mean, now he's just a birthday boy. So
Birthday boy. Okay. Mike, you mentioned, and I think Mike's the only one that's mentioned this, in the whole Husker fan sphere.
no way.
It's year 3 of Matt Rule.
Yes.
I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
Okay. Year 3. Coach Rule has said himself that this is a big year. that year threes are when they pop. I have stated my misgivings about putting that out there. I don't like it.
Your Timmer rating.
Just like with the 240, you put it out there.
Hey, we haven't done it in a while. What's your Timmer rating at right now, guys?
Shit, man. I got to think of what it.
Kyle,
what
we'll
it
start with
was
you.
after BC.
I think I said something like a 7.5, something like that.
I think I was right at 5. I think I ended right at 5, maybe just below.
It doesn't matter what you're at now. I want to know what you're at now. I don't care what you're at then. Like, what are you at right now? Pizza and all, Kyle. What's your Timmer rating right now? TikToks and all. He did do a TikTok dance today.
Sure did.
Does that make it go higher or lower?
I didn't hate the TikTok dance.
No.
I would say it hasn't changed. I mean, there again, back to this conversation
7.5?
about spring ball and everything. Like
7.5.
yeah, 7.5.
7.5.
Personally, I don't talk about football in the spring.
Such a fuck.
Leave now. No, I don't. I think bowl game, bowl win,
Dub.
Wisconsin.
Dub.
Yeah, I'm gonna put myself at a 6.7 right now.
6.7.
Can I change mine to a 6.9?
Nice.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
That's like
just because of that. Because you're trying to be fucking funny.
That's the sex number.
I think mine was at a 6. I'm going to say we're at a 6 because we haven't played any games, but we did win the bowl game. Matt Rule was twerking on TikTok. So
Twerking.
no, he was like moonwalking though. I think it's at a 6. Like,
yeah,
I think
the
things are
moonwalk
going in
doesn't
the
buy
right
you?
direction. There's a reason to be excited if you're an optimistic fan. Like, I think there are all kinds of things. Year 2 of Dylan Raiola. Like, I think that's exciting to see where it could go. But I'm at a 6 right now. We'll see.
I think I'm just gonna have to go with like, do I cop out and just say 5? I feel like that's a cop out, right?
That's like winning 6 games.
Oh yeah, 6 and 6. Pick a side, Jared. Pick a side.
Damn.
I don't hold on. I think the Timmer scale,
No.
like you can pick a 5. You'd be a bitch to do it, but you can't. But like, it's not. We're not picking the schedule.
Right.
It's just like how much do you trust Matt Rule right now? So picking a 5, I think you can do on this scale.
Can I do like 2 separate rankings? Can I do like
Let's
off the
no.
field versus on the field? Can I do that?
No,
Well, no.
no.
'cause
It's
Off the
overall.
field, it's
No,
an
combine 'em.
11.
You got
and then on the
field.
field, it's a 2.
Oh, it's not that low. I still, just so I'm not a bitch,
5.5.
4.9.
Ooh, wow, really? So you
I
actively trust Matt Rule less, like because that's
No.
what that would mean is like you are.
I
on
think
the
it went
side of
up. I think it
not
went up.
trusting him.
I think my rankings went up as the year went on. Because after that UCLA game,
I don't think you ever got that low. Just a heads up. But I
dude,
get
I
what
got
you're
down
saying.
to like 2 after UCLA.
You're like, ain't gonna work.
I was in hell. Still am. Right now I am too. But no, dude, after UCLA, are you kidding me? Everybody
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
But
But
it's tough.
we talked about the in-game management stuff and yes, there've been a lot of staff changes. And this is year 2 of Dylan. So it should be better. And like you've upgraded your coaching staff in multiple positions.
They're all qualified to do these jobs. Some overqualified. Like you talk about our DB coach, he's been a DC.
Yeah.
Like,
And Terry Braden, you would think would be at least even with Knighton, right? Another year of Donnie, like, and no Sat. No
Wonder Boy. Wonder Boy's gone.
Wonder Boy is gone. Dakil Shorts, right? On paper, my ranking I should be at like a 6.8.
Okay.
6.8. But we talk about things in the water at the university and how when players get here, besides Trey Palmer, they get worse. For some reason, coaches, when they come here, sometimes forget how to coach and they just, I don't know what happens. Something happens to them. And I hope that's not the case now. But there's something about fourth quarters, man. This team can't finish. Like, they didn't finish against Boston College. Like, I don't know. There's something about fourth quarters I don't trust. Now, with the changes in the coaches, of course, I have to see it. And he still can't beat ranked teams. I know the sample size, but it's still a thing. Fourth quarters can't beat ranked teams. If you can't finish in the fourth quarter and you can't beat ranked teams, what are you ultimately going to be?
You lose to Ohio State really close.
You're going to be Nebraska.
And that's Nebraska.
Like ultimately, if you can't close and you can't beat ranked teams, you're going to win 7 games. 7.
Yeah. So
that becomes a question of what are our standards? Is 7 okay?
And you're at 4.9.
You know? But
So-
Connor, go. Sorry.
Where we started before we got into Timmer ratings, you brought up and Mike brought up season 3 Matt Rule.
Season 3.
And I had a lengthy discussion about this yesterday, where I think Matt Rule's tenure at Nebraska, every season needs to be viewed as if it's in a vacuum. Because when you look at his time at Temple or at Baylor, that was a different era of college football.
100.
There was no NIL. The transfer portal was not nearly out of control like it is now.
The conferences he was in,
You were not quite as strong as the
mediocre
Big Ten.
Or
Right.
bad.
So I think at Nebraska, in his current tenure, you need to view these seasons as if they are all separate things. That we're building a mosaic, right? He's putting down tiles right now. But to think that we're going to see that same season 3 pop, like Matt Rule, let's say there's some guy out there in middle Nebraska or middle USA, whatever.
Minden.
That is just a Matt Rule fan and not a fan of any of the programs. He's been following. He's like, oh, season 3, he always has his pop. I think you're crazy to expect that kind of pop at Nebraska in the Big Ten in this era. I think what you need to be doing, and for the first time ever, I am trying to be a lot more realistic with my expectations. This last season, I actually called a 9-3 season. And this, obviously, we're not getting into expectations or record predictions yet, but I'm trying to temper that with the game has changed dramatically. And so should all of the factors that you take into developing your own expectations.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
My question for you guys was, what will define success in year 3? Like once the season is over, assuming you make a bowl game, the bowl game's over. What is successful in year 3?
8 wins.
So I said
Minimum.
7 wins and a bowl victory, I would be okay with.
So 7.
7 wins and a bowl victory. But I think for me to call it a real success, I would need 8 regular season and a bowl victory.
No, I don't think you need I think you need 8 wins. You need 8 wins for progress, like to show that you're moving the program in the right direction. I don't think like bowl games are. I know that it helped us get to 7-6 and had our first winning record. I get that, but like bowl wins don't really mean anything in 2025. They really don't.
You're not wrong in saying that.
I
but
just don't like. I'm not going to make the bowl game. That's going to be a tipping point. Half the team's not even there.
It's like the Crown tournament, kind of.
Right. Which we need to talk about. But
We will. So, like, are you saying
8?
Are you saying 8 because it is the mathematical progress? 7?
No,
8?
no, because it's given the better competition, the better program. Like you're playing in the best conference in college football. I know you have. I think the schedules it benefits you, but I think also just given coaching, etc., the things we've seen, the eye test tells me that on those 50-50 games, we're probably going to lose them. So given all those things, like 8 games has got to be where you're at to show that you're taking this program in the right direction.
Well, and so Jared, you said the mathematical progress from 7 to 8.
Yeah.
Mike is saying 8 regular season.
Yes, 8.
Not 8 including a bowl.
8.
He only had 6 regular seasons last year, which is why I was
there
saying
you go.
7 and a bowl win would be like my lowest mark for success.
Lose 4
but I would
in the regular season.
I would like 8 in the regular season and a bowl win, and that's where I can definitively. That's for actually, and I might get some hate for this. That is what I would call a season 3 pop for Matt Rule at Nebraska this year.
Is
8 wins and a bowl win.
I agree with that.
I think that would
That's 9,
qualify
though.
as a
That's
pop.
9.
That would qualify as a pop
Pop is 9.
because pop would be 9.
Yeah, and I think the bowl win would count for 9, just like the 7 and 6 counts. We won 7, but
So-
I'm just saying, like bowl games don't take a lot of that.
So I'm curious to know how how fans will take that. If there is no pop, if there is no 9, I'm just curious to see how
I think
fans
8 is
react
fine.
to that.
They're fine.
Kyle, I hope you're right.
What's your number?
Mike, I hope you're right, because again, it's not us saying that.
Right.
It is rule saying year 3 is the time.
But what do you think?
And so, like, if
Dude,
you
nine wins almost gets you in the playoff.
I hear you.
9 is you're
No.
fighting for the playoff.
Mike, we just said 9 is a pop. So I'm saying if they get 8 or 7,
I think it's still progress though.
I
So you got pop and progress.
pop and progress.
You got pop and
Pop
progress.
versus progress. There it
Pop
is.
versus progress.
I like that.
I think fans are okay with progress, but some of the fan base wants pop because they know what Matt Rule year 3 is,
And Matt Rule said it.
and he does put himself out there. Kyle, what's your opinion on
So outside of pop and progress, what you guys are talking about, my idea of success for Nebraska football are beating the teams that you have out recruited for 10 years.
beat the basketball schools?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, why is Northwestern always a 1 possession game? Why? We beat the brakes off of them in talent. Why? Is because the coaching has been subpar at Nebraska, and they have been outcoached for years and years and years. Pat Fitzgerald, regardless of everything that he's done or accused of doing, the dude outcoached us for years.
Yeah.
There's no reason Northwestern should have ever been in the conversation in beating Nebraska. Ever.
Illinois. Purdue,
Exactly. Bielema
Minnesota.
will outcoach you all day long.
Yeah.
Success is outcoaching and beating the teams that you're supposed to beat and outcoach.
PJ Fleck.
PJ Fleck.
Some might say,
He's a better coach than-
Michigan State should not be
They shouldn't.
beating. And look, Nebraska actually has been historically good against Michigan State. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to say like, oh, they've been beating us a lot.
Well, no,
But
like
it's
just
like
all
Michigan
the
State,
West
like-
teams, the former West teams, have kicked our ass.
UCLA.
And that's the new West, but they should not have beat us, and they did.
UCLA coming in with a brand new head coach and being on some crazy losing streak last year. They come in and
over against
Yeah.
first-year head coaches.
Yeah.
He's over.
Yeah.
So
Oh, man. I forgot about that.
yeah, that's a stat. That's a thing, guys. So
And of course, what's lost or what's forgotten in the discussion is the whole eye test thing.
it's tough.
Like even UCLA, if you look at the final score, it's like, oh, well, that sucks. But dude, they were down
Mhm.
27-7 at one point, and it looked
At home.
horrendous.
Yeah.
And this was after, because again, this is where context comes in. This was after Ohio State,
Yep.
where Matt Rule has his press conference, and
See who this team really is. That kind of.
yep, and then you come out that week and UCLA runs you over with a 15-minute first quarter
If
possession.
if you guys don't remember exactly, after that UCLA game, I think it was on the episode actually that we discovered that UCLA was a better team than we thought they were going into that game.
Yeah.
Like the previous, I think that was game 5. I think the previous 4 games, they had played very high powered offenses. And while they didn't look good, UCLA wasn't as bad as people thought they were.
Well, I think UCLA was a little later in the season.
Yeah.
I want to say like
Well,
games
No, but
8, 7, or 8.
yeah,
Connor is
maybe
right.
it was like
No,
the four games prior. Maybe
Oh,
I
okay.
just had that.
Yeah.
mixed
Yeah,
up.
they had played a bunch of people
They had,
that like
yeah,
were.
they had played tough
Yeah, tough
games
games.
and they had lost close
Yeah.
games and all that stuff. But
So
like all the other
UCLA, yeah.
teams, they win those. Eventually, they figure it out.
And guess who didn't?
Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Yeah, I just think Ohio State beats the brakes off of you in recruiting every single year. And then what do they do on the field? They beat the brakes off of you, barring last year. So just make it translate.
Yeah.
A success is making that translate. You should be beating the teams that you are beating on the recruiting trail in money, in
Investment overall.
exact resources, everything.
Resources.
It should translate because that translates and you got a whole lot more wins than what we've seen in 10 years.
Well,
Yes.
And so, like in those games, Daddy needs a touchdown. Like when you have a home game and you're favored by more than 3.5 points, because the home team always gets 3. I need those games to like not be, getting down to the wire, or like we're waiting on a last second field goal, which we all know our kicker was. And when you go on the road and it's like a 2.5 point spread, that's telling me that Vegas thinks we can win this game. Those are 50-50s to me.
Speaking
And how
of
many of
Vegas,
those do we win?
Daddy.
Speaking of Vegas,
Da-
Speaking of Vegas, it's
Daddy-
right there on the screen.
Daddy needs a crown.
Daddy
Yeah.
needs a crown. Let's shift. All right. So we did do our March spring football talk. I think we did a pretty good job at it, guys. I mean, hey, tip all your caps. We continue to talk about football in the spring, and it's okay.
We didn't build up anybody that wasn't worthy of being built up.
No, there's plenty of things to talk about.
We
Always
have
is.
debunked the Dylan Raiola 240 gate
Yeah, he's not
debunked
240
it.
anymore.
and Tommy Armstrong 220 gate.
I don't know if I believe that.
hey, all I'm saying is I was dead on that website.
We should. He follows us on Instagram. We should just message him and be like, "Hey, were you actually 6'1", 220?"
Hey,
No context.
Plot the tape measure.
I don't want to get back into this topic, but
Do it.
you're the history man, right?
Oh boy.
You know everything history.
Stop.
You're a fucking genius when it
Okay,
comes to
now
history.
don't build
Listen.
it up. Hold on.
He's gonna be wrong.
Pinball Wizard says these guys are talking about recruiting, but Nebraska was a developmental program, 3 stars beating 5 stars for national championships. While some of that statement is true, what were some things that set Nebraska apart from the other schools?
In terms of advantages?
Yeah.
Well, you had the nice weight program that
Prop
Yeah.
48.
having Prop 48 where you could have players on your roster that weren't very smart.
That were not academically qualified.
Nebraska was on television more often than other teams
This-
were.
They also say that it was 3 stars, but this was pre-recruiting.
Bruh.
Before those recruiting databases happened, we were getting talent.
That's another thing that we needed to debunk.
It's such that that's a debunk right there.
Like
we
Tommy
had
Frazier.
talent.
Tommy Frazier was
He's a
the
5-star.
best quarterback.
He's a 5-star.
You know,
Yeah.
Number 1 option quarterback in the country.
yeah.
People can say that, but that's because it predates Rivals, ESPN, all these star ratings that didn't exist then. So that's usually like a lot of the old heads that are like, "Oh, we did this with the farm boys and the walk-ons." And don't get me wrong, there were walk-ons. There were,
Yeah.
But
and we were a development program, but there were talents. There were freaking dudes here.
Can I say the word that triggers a lot of Husker fans? But
Steroids.
it was steroids. Steroids help.
Shit.
I know.
And so
Hold on. No.
the other part of this is I feel like what you're about to say
Go
is
on.
other programs were using
did.
steroids as well.
Yep.
And that is true. Guess what? We did them better.
we shot him in the butt, and they
yeah.
shot him in the.
We had an insane weight program that was
I know.
helped by anabolic steroids.
Boy, definitely the GOAT.
Yeah.
Um,
That was a part of it.
well, look, and it's no secret that like Oklahoma was doing it too, and Bosworth and Switzer, whatever. Like, yeah, Oklahoma and Nebraska were the 2 premier programs for a very long time. Until, of course, John Blake in the 90s with Oklahoma, and we kicked their ass, right? And that separated Tom Osborne from the can't beat Oklahoma narrative. But yes, Nebraska has always been very good at recruiting. And
They have.
we
care.
recruiting top players.
And believe it
They
or not,
have.
we've also paid players before NIL.
Sure.
Yes.
Believe it or not, I know your little Husker heart says, no, we done it the right way. Tom Osborne would never. He would never. He did.
Tom's the
If
GOAT.
you are a fan of any program that has won a national title before the NIL era, I have news for you.
And look, please make no mistake.
Don't tell him about the tooth fairy.
Yeah.
Jeez. Santa Claus. And make no mistake, we talk about steroids. We talk about paying players before it was cool. Tom Osborne's still the GOAT.
Oh, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, Still
I'm not going to discredit it.
better than Saban. Fuck you. Better than Saban. Better than
That's
Joe
not,
Pa. Better than Bowden. Better than maybe not Bear Bryant, but
You know why though?
he's probably the second best.
You know why though?
Why?
Because we are in the state of Nebraska. This is not a hotbed for talent. The fact that Nebraska did what it did for decades is an anomaly. We are literally the outlier. You cannot find another program in this region that did what we did. So yes, Tom Osborne did. He made chicken salad out of chicken shit for 30 fucking years.
That is
25, but
yeah.
What you know what I'm saying? Whatever.
It's a really good point. I always just tell people that when they ask about who's the greatest coach of all time, I'll tell you my top 4, but none of them are in particular order. And you named all of them except for one.
Bear Bryant.
Well, no, he named Bear Bryant.
Bear Bryant's number 1.
Well, so in no particular order, it's 2
Alabama has
Bama
no
coaches and 2 Nebraska coaches.
Bob Devaney.
Bob Devaney.
Yeah.
That's my top 4 in no particular order.
That's fine.
But like, if you want to talk about top coaches and you're talking about any other school than Alabama or Nebraska, I'm sorry, you're just wrong.
I mean, we can be biased. That's the best part about our platform is we can say whatever the
100%.
fuck we want.
Yeah.
I can
So,
say fuck
hey,
Nick Saban.
That's a good comment, though. Honestly, that was a great comment. That's good conversation. Let's talk crown.
You do it.
Give a crown to the baseball team and wrap it up.
So Nebraska's RPI, you read it and you're like, so what? Because it's at like 70 something, but it jumped 50 spots because they took 2 out of 3 over top 5 Oregon State. They damned the Beavs. Their offense showed up for the most part. Here was what I was extremely pleased with. After game 2, they get mollywopped.
Yeah.
And I figure Husker sports, Husker men's sports. All right. Well, fuck. Our game 1 was fool's gold. That's my new favorite one. Game 1 was fool's gold. They won game 1. They get mollywopped in game 2. And I just figured game 3 was just going to be Oregon State's going to take care of business, look like a top 5 team. Nebraska scores 9 runs in the 7th inning.
It was
And
beauty.
I go, Oregon State is Nebraska-ing. And it made me so happy.
I was almost wondering if they had those new torpedo bats the Yankees will.
Hell yeah.
Because they like the bats. I mean, we talked about this last week.
Yeah.
That like the bats have been quiet. And suddenly, I mean, in game 1 and in game 3,
Yeah.
they were there. And, you know, there was some woes a few days prior. It's K-State.
It's, yeah, okay.
But what a time to stand up. I mean, but this series win against Oregon State ultimately will mean nothing if it doesn't continue. This
Facts.
team has shown that it can compete at the highest level in college baseball. It just showed us that.
Well, it showed us it early in the year, too, when we were beating Vandy and
Yeah.
doing
but
those things. So
if you can't do that consistently, it doesn't mean shit.
So the question is, the first 20-something games where your offense was ranked last in the Big Ten, essentially, is that the real Nebraska, or was this the real Nebraska on offense? Because, again, we talked about the pitching, how losing Mason sucks. But look, guys, offense just needs to score runs. They just do. Like, I know it's hard. Hitting a baseball is very hard, but you just have to do it. And they did it. So was that the real Nebraska the first 20 games, or is this?
I think the next 2 weeks you'll find out. I really do.
Yeah.
Like the next 2 weeks you're going to find out. They had a tough schedule. They were on the road for a long freaking time. They were dead and worn out. They finally got to come home and they won a series. So
The reset. Is this the reset?
this could be the reset.
Let's go.
Now, Connor, what did you refer to the basketball team as? Like a cat? What?
Dead cat.
Dead cat bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's this baseball team.
Well, so
Mm.
I have a reference that's I'm not quite calling this a dead cat for the baseball team right now. We still have time.
No, it's dead cat.
What I'm worried about with this team, with this baseball team, is that they're a rubber band.
Mm.
You can stretch it out and you can get these big wins, but then it's going to contract and you're going to get some bad losses. So I'm worried right now. They seem kind of like a rubber band. They're inconsistent. They have the talent to put up 16 runs on Oregon State. They also have some games where they're not really going to do shit. So it concerns me just with the consistency of the team.
Last week, I yelled like a big baby. Remember? Do you remember what I yelled to close the episode out?
I know.
Quit striking out! Get on base! And they did. They didn't strike out nearly as much. They put the ball in play. And yeah, the weather, I'm sure, played a part in that. You know, it was like 40 degrees, just kind of shitty and drizzly, right? The ball's a little slick. But when you put the ball in play, you force a defense who there's not a lot of gold glovers out there. You have to force them to make plays. Quit bailing them out by striking out. And hey, our boy Stoney, he
Doing well.
like he didn't start at the beginning of the year. He started a few games on the West Coast trip. He showed out against UCLA, but they got swept, so it didn't really fucking matter. But he's been raking.
He's hot.
Our boy Stoney's been raking.
He's hot.
He's a hot boy.
That's the NBNR boy right there. There's his autograph right up there.
There it is.
Hey,
keep doing your thing.
Nebraska baseball. What they need to do is beat freaking Creighton. Because fuck Creighton. That's why.
You know why? Because fuck Creighton.
Because fuck Creighton. Okay. Let's shift to basketball and wrap up.
What do you want to say, Mike? They're playing Arizona State.
Two things are going to happen in the Crown. I'm going to tell you right now.
Two
things. One of two things. Nebraska's either going to win the whole thing or they're going to lose tonight.
Oh,
nothing in between.
That is
okay.
That's my bold prediction. They're either going to lose tonight or they're going to win the whole freaking thing, because that's how close this team was to being a tournament team. Like, they have talent when they want to have it. They have Bryce Williams. Another team on this Crown tournament has Bryce Williams. They're also, like, with NIL and transfer portal and all that stuff, like, half these teams have like very limited rosters. And Nebraska ball has a heavy full roster.
I think it's two parts to this. One, Mike, the thing I hate the most about your argument about like they're either going to lose tonight or they're going to win it all is the fact that I agree with it.
Thank you.
I
thought it was a hot take. So
no, I actually do agree with that. But I don't know if you guys saw that currently the only P4 program in the nation that has no players in the portal is Nebraska.
Because we're playing, baby. Let's go.
It is the only Power 4 program in the nation that currently has no players in the portal.
There's a camera on me.
Mm-hmm.
I think there needs to be some players on the portal.
Oh, I'm sure that's
there
gonna happen.
will be.
Hey, they've got basketball to play, and we want to put that inaugural crown on that head.
Here, you know, how long is this discussion going to be now?
No, not long, because I got to get home to watch the game.
Yeah. The game starts in 27 minutes.
Connor Sejan's coming back.
Good.
Okay, fine.
Bench role player.
It's fine.
Shooter off the bench.
You hear about Jamarcus Lawrence possibly coming back.
Bench role player. Fine. Whatever. Okay, defender.
Fine. Everybody's getting excited.
I'm not excited about that.
And I'm just here like, you're not going to make the tournament again.
Jared, everybody's getting excited. Mike's like, I'm not getting excited.
I'm not getting excited about that.
So
I think Nebraska ball, given what Troy Dannon has said about things in the offseason so far, I think they're going to have about $6 million to spend in NIL for transfer portal stuff. I think they are committed. This fan base and I think this administration is committed to having a productive basketball team. So
fucking A.
I do think that they're going to go after some dudes.
So,
but it's okay to have some of those guys back for as role players.
It is. It's fine.
Jared, you say, I think there should be some guys in the portal.
I do.
Mike earlier talked about that Tom is the GOAT because he recruited to Nebraska from a very small-ish talent pool at the time comparatively to larger programs.
Yeah.
When you're recruiting for Nebraska basketball right now, how the fuck are you going to do that? Money's the only way.
Show me the money.
You're going to get outbid on top players. I saw, I don't know if you guys saw, and I hope it was satire. It was on the scrolls. Somebody posted like, "Why did Nebraska not offer a Cooper flag?"
Oh,
you think a player of that tier is coming to Nebraska?
That's awesome.
Not unless you've got a whole shitload of money for one player.
Yeah, man. Because Connor, because our goal is to win the Natty, right? Wrong.
Our goal should be at least to compete for the Big Ten.
Kick him out. Get him the hell out of here. Get him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn those lights off.
Well, forget the money. I'll just deal in threats.
We're going to absolutely murder you.
And that's how I'll get my players.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's honestly, you would convince me to play for you.
Yeah.
We're not going to win a single fucking game.
Commit to us.
You threaten my life. Yes, I will play for
Commit
you.
to
Nebraska
us.
tried the whole let's just go all in on one player and see how it goes. They tried that. They had Bryce McGowan, who was a 5-star. It didn't work. So I think a guy like Jamarcus Lawrence coming back, to add some veteran presence,
indeed,
defense.
We love veteran presence
players. Hey, Kyle's over there always talking about you got to get old, stay old. You can't just flip your roster every year. Getting a guy back who's familiar with this place is not a bad thing.
Yep.
It's not.
You gotta give him that hot tune
and spit on that thing.
Hey,
that's what we got to start doing. That's how we'll get players.
Hear me out.
We need
Fred. Get on your knees, Fred.
Freddie?
Freddy?
What's his name?
You got to do it to a booster.
Hear me out. We we go the Dodgers route
Jesus.
and we just get a whole team of Keiseis. Like just Keisei was phenomenal, man. These Japanese athletes are out of this goddamn world. We had a whole team of Keiseis. 5 guys that are just dumping threes.
Here's what I want. Just put the camera on Connor, and we won't say a word.
Anything.
Just let him sit there.
Keisei was great. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
I know. You're right.
Oh, we did miss it.
Build the statue.
Build a statue.
Right. Okay.
All right. I think that's good.
Okay. We good?
We're good. Hey,
We got our Japanese talking point in.
We did. We're good. We
feel like we talk about
we're set, baby.
That was the one thing they wanted to do this episode.
Gary
Mike
Saddlemeyer
would
in the
not let it
episode
go.
tonight, folks.
That's not me.
Mike wouldn't let it go.
Will not put my name on that. Speaking of things I'll put my name on, Underdog Fantasy, guys.
Oh.
We are back. We are sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. If you want to support the podcast and make a little money betting on Nebraska in the crown as they win and take the crown, make sure you use the promo code NBNR. It will match your first time offer, and you get to support the pod in doing it. So shout out to you guys. Use the promo code NBNR. Make a couple bets. Make a couple gambles. And watch Nebraska ball win
Win the crown or lose the first game.
or lose the first game.
Yeah. There's only one.
Hey, they've got where they're playing Dan Hurley's brother. So
Yeah. Bobby, your
Hey.
former Duke boy, a little Duke white boy.
hey, Bobby.
Well,
Why does that have
am I wrong? Put the camera. How many people?
Why are we putting the camera on me
How
every
many-
time?
how many people are
weird.
watching?
Weird.
How many
Carter
pe-
likes the white Bob Hurley.
How many people are watching? How many people?
It's
No,
380. I
Come
can
on.
see it.
Yeah, for sure.
Come on.
Okay, wrap us out.
God
Get us
damn
out of
it.
here.
Fuck, seriously? You won't even say it?
That's
It's
fine.
380.
People don't want to hear about spring football.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I shouldn't have made it the title.
Shit, that's what fuck does. Yeah. All right. I'm one of your hosts, Jared Hall.
Mike Delaware.
Connor Cavalack.
Kyle Byers.
As always, beat Arizona State. Take the crown in GBO.